But right now, let us welcome a guest. And from what I understand, unless this goes very poorly today, this will be a weekly
Wow. Look at us.
with
Legit
the great Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas
legit
Cowboys.
operation.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
We have a
It's
weekly with the
fabulous.
only player that scored for the Cowboys last week.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
I mean, who's keeping track though?
Hopefully Canton.
Yeah, no, that was not a fun game, but glad to have made my kicks.
Hey man, thanks for talking to us today. Thanks for doing it on your bye week. I didn't know if you were going to say, "Hey, why don't we start this in 2 weeks?"
No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me, and thanks for scheduling me weekly.
What's your what is the bye week scene? Are you off now until next Monday or whatever?
Yeah, we're off till Monday. Kind of haven't figured out our plans yet. We have free flights because Jen works for the airline, so haven't decided if we're going to go anywhere or just stay here and kind of catch up on house chores that are behind now that we got Colton, little Colton with us.
Little Colton. That's right. Last time we saw you, you were in our studio downtown Dallas,
Yeah.
and you were being pretty elusive about that name, as I recall.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we stuck with it. We were like 90% sure, but just kind of wanted to reserve the rights to change it just in case.
Yeah, they don't
Okay.
make you they don't make you do it right away at the hospital. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like we had I think 2 weeks to fill out the form for the birth certificate, which I got done right away. I don't like procrastinating, so I was happy to get that done.
How old are we right now?
He's 2 months. Yeah, he's getting there. He's growing.
Yeah, I saw him squirming all around in you were correcting me the other day. I thought it was like Sunday night. It was Amazon Prime game. They had
Yeah,
a
yeah,
feature on you before the game.
yeah. They did. They interviewed me. They interviewed Brian and Trent, the other specialists. They got Bones. They went to my parents' house, got them, and they snuck over to my kicking coach's place and got him. So I wasn't aware it was going to be that in depth, but it was a really nice piece. It was about 5 minutes, and they kind of hit the story from all angles really well. So I was really happy to see it. Got to see it after the game, and they did a really good job.
You seem like a really well put together person, so I imagine you weren't that nervous about the parent situation. But my wife and I will watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette sometimes,
Yeah.
and just putting myself in the position of like, hey, they're going to go sit down and interview my parents. Very few things could make me more anxious and nervous than the prospect of that.
Yeah, my parents have been coached, so they're not going to give away anything that they're not supposed to say. They're really good. They're just very proud, and it comes out when anytime they talk about me. Just so excited to say positive things about me, which makes me happy. They're never going to say anything bad about me, even if they're thinking it.
Man, that's got to be my brother. My brother played quarterback in college at Tulane, and I feel like right below quarterback, the kicker parent has got to be the biggest roller coaster in football.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single time you go out there, you're stressed. So I know my parents, my mom in particular, she's a ball of stress. So anytime I'm doing anything, performing any activity, she's probably 3 or 4 times more stressed than me. And just knowing how I feel on the field, she's got to be stomachs and knots. But yeah, they're my biggest fans. They've been to every single game at home and a couple on the road now. They went to every single USFL game. Driving all the way out to Birmingham from Plano, Texas, every week was not easy. They'd even drive up to Notre Dame from Dallas to see my soccer games. So yeah, they're huge fans, and I don't think I picked an easy position for them to cheer for.
Yeah, no, I guess I know on a smaller level because since we got to know you, I really watched the kicking game a lot differently. I don't know if you
Yeah,
do, Jake, but
Of course.
it's just like okay, 3 steps, get over. Okay, that's looking. Just watching
yeah,
everything that you do is very because. And you described to us in the past just how you came to get that exact. You've practiced that a million times, right? That
yep.
exact little steps.
Yeah, absolutely. Still painted in my garage with some bright neon duct tape, so my steps are still there. I don't visit them very often, but I like to leave it there just as a reminder of all the work I went through. But yeah, it
Okay,
takes a lot.
I'm sorry. So I want to talk to you about a lot of stuff, and if we don't want to take too much of your time, and because we got a weekly here, so we can get to everything. But let's even start with week one. Uh, what was it? The 63-yard field goal.
It was this is Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
It was 66. It was the record.
No. Oh, okay. Wait.
Yeah. It could have been 71.
Yeah.
That was and I was in the stands, like, just screaming.
Right. No, okay. I guess it was, okay. Yeah. Describe it. Cause when they started moving it back.
Yeah.
And you trotted out there at first.
Yeah. I was I'll be honest. I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. I thought the Browns called a timeout. So I thought we're just relining up and hitting 66 again. And I just made it. So I'm like, why wouldn't we do that again? So I don't really track where I'm at with my feet because it's just big lines, and we went 5 yards back, so the big line didn't change relative to where we were. We're still 1 yard away from the big line, so I figured we're in the same spot. And then all of a sudden I see Brian get up and run over to the punter, Brian Anger, get up and run over to the sideline and start talking about it. I'm like, well, that's odd. We just made the kick. I don't know why we'd be.
Yeah, why wouldn't we just make it again?
Yeah, just do it again. But it wasn't until halftime I realized, they called a penalty. That makes sense. So 71 out there, because that was going into the dog pound, which has a breeze, kind of stiff breeze coming out of the end zone. So it's like maybe cuts 5 yards off of your ball. So 71 probably wasn't very realistic. I think 66 barely snuck through there. So they made the right call to take me off the field. But I would have just blindly kicked it and then wondered, hey, why was that short?
Okay, so but what you're saying there indicates
you thought you tied the record.
No, but
yeah, I did think that
70 is not out of the question. Maybe in a dome or something where there's no wind.
Yeah, we definitely give it a try, and I'm going out there and I'm thinking just don't leave it short. So your accuracy starts to get a little funky when you're swinging harder. So at 70, it's probably a lot less likely to go in than from 60. But we definitely have the leg to get it there. Just got to get it through the uprights.
What do you have there in your office? We're on video as well. Most people listen to us, but we're going to put out this video. What are those footballs behind you?
Yeah, so let me grab one. This one is the newest one. It is Cowboys do like a presentation of awards whenever you get an award. So this one is the kicker, the special teams player of the month for the month of September 2024. And you see it's got all the stats listed out there nicely. So it's a nice little keepsake commemorative ball. This one is personally my favorite because it's got that franchise record on there. I want to push that 1 yard further at least, but it's nice.
Yeah, 12 of 13 field goals, 6 50-plus field goals made. This is all in 1 month, not a year. Like that would be a season for so many. 65-yard longest in Dallas Cowboy franchise history, and the Cowboys have been around a while. Second longest in NFL history, 7 for 7 in extra points. Wow.
Yeah. So that's a fun one. And then got my Cowboys helmet there.
You've been special teams player of the month in the past, though, right?
Yeah, I think that was my third one. I think that's 3 out of 5 months I've been in the league now, which blows my mind. That's just kind of
Do they crazy. Give you a ball for each one?
Yeah, the other ones are in the closet. I don't have a whole lot of room up there, so keep the balls that I'm not displaying kind of in the closet and put in a little rotation. Not that anyone sees this room very often, but just for me.
Do I hear Colton?
Yeah. He just got his vaccines, so he's pretty upset.
Oh, that's gonna be a rough afternoon.
Yeah. It doesn't get better on the shots.
Absolutely. And then over this shoulder, that's the Notre Dame degree, computer science. I think that also got TFC picture up there from back when I was playing soccer, Pro Bowl football, Sunday night football, game ball. That picture of the plane is from when my wife passed her check ride to get her private pilot's license, and then just a cat, just like that.
Does she fly you around?
She has before, but not recently.
It's not in your contract that you're not allowed to fly.
No, you see, Brandon Cooks actually has his private pilots, and he's flown around some of the team members.
I think it was
last year.
Either D-Law or Micah was up there. Maybe Diggs was up there with him.
Yeah, a lot of money in Cowboys contracts on that plane.
Yeah.
Man, we talk about the private plane, not private jet, but the private plane I feel like there's a news story every week that I'm just I just don't know anymore. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of flights going out, and you don't hear about all the ones that land
Sure.
safely. So,
The
but
ratio, I'm sure.
yeah, it's like you're more likely to get into a car accident, get into a car, than you are a plane wreck, get into a plane.
So the one miss you had, not to be harp on the negative quote miss. I've always thought, the quarterback stat, just interceptions. I hate when people just cite interceptions because they're all created so differently.
Yeah.
That's why some advanced stats I actually really do like because they'll take into account, if you throw a ball deep on 10 seconds left in the second quarter, that should not count the same as throwing into tight coverage and blowing a read or
Mhm.
a tipped ball, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What about the blocked kick?
Oh, that was totally my fault.
Okay, so that's the thing. I
Yeah.
imagine some of them are, but some of them are
Yeah.
just a guy made a crazy good play. So it just came out
Yeah.
trajectory-wise low.
It was really low, and it was kind of the power fade low ball, which is crazy. So I was right in the middle at 38. So shouldn't be hitting that ball. I just my plant foot wasn't where it needed to be, and I couldn't make up for it with my swing. So just a miss hit that happens every once in a while. Hopefully we keep it to just the one on the year. But yeah, that was a really bad kick by me. That's the worst one I've put on film.
So the one against the Giants, again, we're not
Mhm.
gonna always harp on your missed kicks.
Yeah, absolutely.
That one was big for our friends that like to bet on football games. Did you hear
Yeah.
a lot of that discourse that week?
Yeah, I get it on Facebook, Instagram, checking even Venmo. You got Venmo requests from guys who think they're funny or just trying to troll you. So it's like it's ridiculous, but yeah, it is. You're betting on a sporting event, and it's a 50-something yard field goal, man. It's not something that is easy as much as the kickers nowadays make it look easy.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing. I think I saw JJ Watt on McAfee's show, and he just kind of went on a rant that was like, it's too easy for him now. Like we've got to, it's almost like the NBA with the 3-point shot where guys got so good that the league actually started considering like, what do we have to do here?
Yeah,
It really is crazy. And I told these guys the other day, because there's so many college teams and there's so many games on, it really is jarring when you watch college football on Saturday and it's like 40 is a coin flip.
yeah.
And
No,
then Sunday, it's just a guy I've never heard of who can hit from 58 with 10 left on it or something.
yeah, the kickers are getting better, training's getting better, but I mean, athletes are getting better at everything. So
Yeah.
you watch quarterbacks; they can throw the ball 50 yards downfield, and the wide receiver's not breaking stride as he catches it. So I mean, we're going to make the ball smaller for the receivers to catch too. You don't have to change anything just because the athletes are getting better at something. And if you make the uprights smaller, which I've heard as a suggestion from a few places, you should be more frustrated with kickers because you'd prefer to get to a spot and then trust your kicker to make that kick. You saw last night, that's MetLife as well. It's a tough place to kick, but when you can't really rely on your kickers to make their kicks, it makes the games pretty chaotic and really tough for coaches to call. So, I mean, that's just not something that I personally think would be a good thing. I kind of think the kickers have been so good recently just because they're getting good. It's not like anything really needs to change.
Toughest place to kick. What's
Um, Toughest places I've kicked so far. So we went to Cleveland, but it was a nice day. Pittsburgh was a tough day just because it was, the field was kind of like soup. There was no firm footing. But I'd say Washington, out of the places I've played so far, I've only been through the league one time, so I haven't played everywhere. And some places I played, I got good weather. Some places I had really bad weather. So when we were in Washington, it was a really windy day, and the stadium swirled it up for us. So it was just a really tough place to play. Buffalo, I will say, we went there in December, and that was also incredibly difficult. The kickers and quarterbacks who go out there, they're just starting behind. Everything they do, I think, is a little bit more challenging than playing in a dome, obviously. So those guys have great respect for them. It's a tough job, and they do a good job.
What was that delay like in Pittsburgh for you guys?
That was an interesting one going into it. We were tracking the weather all week, and it just kind of kept showing that 7 o'clock thunderstorms all the way up to like kind of 10. So we were warming up, kind of figuring we might get a delay. So the focus probably wasn't where it needed to be because you could see the storm off in the distance, kind of slowly inching over us. So like we're kind of warming up, but maybe new in the back of our head, we're getting a delay. So don't spend too much energy because we're going to have to be right back out here doing it again. So kind of was mentally prepared for it, which can be a bad thing too if you're mentally prepared for a break and it doesn't come. But yeah, I mean, just sat in the locker room for an hour and a half and tried to find ways to kill time without killing the legs. And so I just sat there on my phone, scrolled through Instagram, played a few phone games with my legs up. Yeah.
When did you guys get home?
Oh gosh, we got home at like 5:15. We landed at 5:15 ish, and then I got. Luckily, I'm close to the airport, so I got in bed around 6.
Oh, you didn't get the baby handed to you right whenever you
Oh no, they were actually out of town, which was nice. They're visiting Colton's grandparents or great grandparents out in Kansas City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do DFW Airport?
Yes.
Okay, because we've left with, I think the Mavs and the Stars both left from like a private, right next to Love Field.
The Cowboys the Cowboys charter I took, I thought it was, maybe it was DFW, but it's definitely.
Yeah, it's DFW. We fly it with American Airlines. We charter through American Airlines.
Okay, so when we've been with a couple other sports teams that I just mentioned, like to drop those names.
Sure.
But when you land, they will have, like, is it the same for you guys? They will have your cars just parked outside right there on the runway and your keys right there, and you just go grab your car?
There's a little parking lot for us. We put our cars there. Then we go through what little of TSA there is and then walk onto the plane. It's like a 2-minute walk. So it's really nice. It's really convenient. Like I said, I landed at 5:15 and I was in bed at 6 a.m. So it's really convenient once you're on the ground, but obviously you got to get there first.
It's always tough whenever they allow the media guys to take that charter, though, because the one we did at Love Field, it's like a little private. You park somewhere, then they line all the cars up. I was a lowly radio producer at the time, and I had parked my 9-year-old barely running Honda Accord next to I don't know, like a G-Wagon, and it was pretty embarrassing. Just my car in there in the middle of it. Also,
I drive a Ford Escape. So I'm still driving my same 2017 Ford Escape.
Solid.
Yeah.
I like that. So I don't know how much you actually you pay attention to watch games in full on the weekend. They're doing the whole like almost like the soccer or tennis review thing for spotting the ball at certain times. Like the computer, the microchip type thing. Speaking of the uprights, I've always thought we have to figure out a way to just shoot the upright all the way up somehow. Like whether it's a chip in the ball, and you're a computer science guy, I don't know, lasers, whatever we have to do. Because I think there's way too much left to two guys just sort of looking at each other and looking up and being like, "What are you on this one?"
Yeah.
And I think the same thing about punting. Like I know that's not your deal, but I'm sure Banger's mentioned it before. I do not buy that a human being at ground level can look at 3 different dimensions while that ball is going out of bounds and tell exactly
40 yards in the air.
There's no way. There's no way that that's accurate. It's got to be at least a plus or minus of 2 yards every time.
Yeah, with punting, I'm on that with you. With kicking the field goals, if it goes directly over the uprights, it's good. But if you're leaving that up to the refs,
it's a little too close.
It's too close. But with punting, I've heard the way that they say where it's down if it goes straight out of bounds, and it's not at all scientific. Apparently, the guy behind the punter does a line, and then the person way down the field tries to visually get in line with his arm, and that's where it's spotted. So that doesn't quite work. And we'll go back and watch film, and Brian will be like, "See, look, there's 2 more yards. There's another yard on this punt. I'm getting screwed out of 15 yards a year on a punt net, and when I only have 32 punts, that's half a yard, and that takes me from being number 1 in net to number 2 in net, and then I go from being all pro to just Pro Bowl, or maybe I go from not being Pro Bowler to being cut just because those 0.5 of net. It's like it's a big deal, and it's something that should be as accurate as possible.
But you said that you did not like kicking a ball with a chip in it, right? Because you did that in the USFL.
Well, yeah. So the USFL chip was encased in a little piece of PVC pipe, and it was off on the side of the ball. So it was just a little off weight to one side or the other. Now they did fix that after 3 weeks, so they just got rid of the chip in general. But I think the second year they put the chip underneath the laces, which was kind of the center point of the ball, so it traveled a lot better, and you couldn't feel it. You weren't kicking it because of where it was. So, like,
Yeah.
there's a right way and a wrong way to do the chip,
Yeah.
and I think the USFL did it the wrong way, and then they fixed it and did it the right way.
So one more thing I wanted to ask you about is the new kickoffs.
Yeah.
I know you were juiced up about it in the off season, and then I just recently watched a YouTube video where a guy was breaking down every one of your kickoffs through the first 4 games of the season.
Really?
It got like 250,000 views on YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch this video.
yeah, I'll send it to you if you want. If you want to see it.
Absolutely.
But it's really cool what he's saying that you are doing, and I guess I wanted to get into your mind about it, just because it looks like being a soccer player really helps you now with the kickoff. Like, you're trying to aim for certain areas, or sometimes it looks like you're putting a fade on it, or a curve, or just I don't know, some crazy stuff that you soccer players know how to do when you kick. But it kind of it looks way different than your field goal setup is very regimented.
Yeah.
But your kickoffs seem to be you could change your approach from kickoff to kickoff.
Yeah, absolutely. And to speak on that, I'm trying to just not give anything away when I'm lining up, because a lot of time by kicker alignment, if you're really rigid, you can tell where the kicker's going, or like the ball placement. So a lot of the times I just trying to disguise it as much as possible. And I just kind of pick a target line, and I know where I'm trying to go, and I just kind of chop my feet up and say, go kick it there. And with the fade and draw and all that, it's just something I practice and practice. And when the time calls for it and it's needed, I try and hit it. It's just a little bit different than field goal, because every single kick is I'm trying to put it in a slightly different spot. And it doesn't have to be super accurate, so I can go out there and just kind of wing it.
Yeah, in fact, this guy breaking you down was alleging that as the season is going, you are trying to look more similar on each kick, and he did an overlay of one of your earlier kicks with, and so how you look, it's the exact same approach, but one of them was curved this way, and one of them went so you're trying to keep them guys guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't want them to get a starting point where they get an alignment that allows them to get an advantage over our kickoff coverage team. So any little detail I can change or make look like I'm going the other direction, I'm gonna try and do that and get away with it and make them think I'm going one way and I may be going the other way. And eventually the coaches will just look at it and kind of just maybe say, maybe we need to be playing to go both ways and not really have a solid plan for their kickoff team or their kick return team, which is kind of where we want them to go.
It's like a pitcher. Like, we used to be really into the overlays of Yu Darvish when he was in Texas. He had like 8 pitches, but the release point, it was all exactly the same. And then from there, yeah. And speaking of, maybe we'll talk about this next week, since there won't be a game between now and then, or even if it's a couple weeks. Bones was in his bag the other day.
Oh yeah.
I've been waiting to see what it would look like, and then 2 or 3 more times after the big return, the kickoff return team still ran like the orbital around the back to get the fake, and you have to respect it because the first one worked. So, not a ton to write home about from Sunday, but special teams wise,
yeah,
had a good.
Yeah, we did a good job. It's tough. It's a team game, and you obviously want to be on the winning side, and you want everyone on your team to be happy. But as a unit, I think we went out and did our job, and we were happy with it. We're gonna go watch film and continue to get better, and try and affect the team in a positive way, so we can go out and win games. It's a 3-phase game, obviously: offense, defense, special teams, and we want to be the best special team unit in the league. Period. We can go out there and accomplish that each and every week and give our team a better shot at winning.
All right, man. Well, good fun. Appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely.
Good luck figuring out what you're going to do for the rest of the week.
I appreciate it.
And
thanks for having me.
We'll talk to you next week, man.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Later.